What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the episode of Uncool with Alexa Bliss from about 2 weeks ago, featuring James Iglehart. And if you don't know who he is, you absolutely should, because I didn't know who he was. But then after watching this episode, I became his biggest fan. This was a great episode, and probably the best yet. I haven't watched the latest one with the Bella twins that I think went up last week. She had Ryan Cabrera on the podcast this week. The network version is always a week behind. I'm like a fucking month behind. There's so much stuff I still have to catch up on, and I apologize. I've just been incredibly busy just due to a variety of factors in the last couple of weeks. But I finally had a chance to watch this one from 2 weeks ago, and it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. James Iglehart played the genie in Aladdin on Broadway. He also, I guess, was in the original Hamilton on Broadway. And I was wondering when I first saw him advertised for the show why he was on here. Alexa Bliss is a big Disney person. She absolutely has, actually. She said it here on the show. Has seen him on Broadway. And he's also a really big wrestling fan, so they must be good friends. But he was fucking awesome. And again, not just because of the wrestling fan thing, but he was really likable. And even when he wasn't talking about the wrestling stuff, he was just so damn great. I loved this episode. It was a little over, maybe around 25 minutes, maybe like 35 minutes. I think the Lance Bass episode was a little shorter, around 25. This one was a little longer, around 35 minutes. But it was great stuff, though. So the earliest Disney memory that Alexa Bliss asked that Iglehart had was watching The Jungle Book in theaters, which must have been the original Jungle Book, maybe not the animation movie, but he seems like an older guy, so that wouldn't make a lot of sense. Or maybe it was the original animation movie. I thought that came out in the 90s, but maybe it came out in like the 80s or 70s. I don't remember. My timeline is way off. But Alexa Bliss said that she used to watch Beauty and the Beast nonstop as a kid, and she remembers going to Disney Park and whatever. James said that he actually used to go to Disney World constantly, but they don't do it as much anymore, not just because of the pandemic, but because they went there so much where they knew where everything was. He was a Disney freak, and he still is, but in terms of going to the park, they've kind of curtailed that back a bit. Bliss said growing up that she really wanted to be Tinkerbell. That was like her ultimate goal. As far as the wrestling connection goes, James said he grew up a wrestling fan starting at the age of 10. He was always a big A-Team Mr. T fan, saw Mr. T partaking in the first WrestleMania back in 85. So he got hooked instantly. He watched WrestleMania for Mr. T, but he saw all these earlier matches instead with Ricky Steamboat, all these other people, and instantly got hooked on wrestling. His dad also got him into the NWA. His dad said, hey, if you like that, you'll probably like this too. So we watched a lot of the NWA, which was really cool to hear about on the network. And that was actually what he said helped him learn how to talk and not cut promos, but I can completely sympathize with that. Completely. Wrestling, I think, has really helped me develop, and I still can't talk for shit sometimes. I still stumble over my words, but in terms of finding out new words and exploring new words and stuff like that and really expanding my vocabulary, wrestling has helped me with that a lot, as well as my writing as well. I have a lot of that to attribute to professional wrestling. I have a lot of that to credit to WWE and whatnot. But James was no different. He would used to go off of bullet points and stuff like that for his scripts and whatnot, as opposed to being completely written out as far as scripts. Even he is suggesting that bullet points are better than completely being scripted, which WWE needs to do more of, because I completely agree. He also said that he had the old LGM action figures in his Disney lunchboxes, and the only reason I know what those are is because of Zack Ryder. I don't really know a lot about the action figures stuff, but Zack Ryder's talked a lot about the LGM action figures, and old podcast, obviously him and Brian Myers, the former Kurt Hawkins, do their own action figure podcast, the wrestling action figure podcast, so that was pretty cool to hear about that. He said he actually cut a promo on a teacher one time about how the teacher said to take his jacket off. And he was offended, basically, when the teacher said that, watching you with your jacket on, looking at you with your jacket on is making me hotter, even though it was cold in the room. And he brought up to the teacher how that made absolutely no sense. Now, I don't know if this was high school or elementary school. I don't know. But it was a great story. He said that his dad got pissed at him. But even after James explained why he said what he said, he goes, listen, you make a lot of sense. You're absolutely right, but you shouldn't talk back to a teacher. So I thought that story was great. He said that he had no sports skills, but he used to wrestle his friends in like their schoolyard. And in the schoolyard, he used to wrestle his friends. They had their own little promotion, which was great. He idolized Macho Man Randy Savage growing up. He was his absolute favorite wrestler. And in their own little promotion at school, they had like their own War Games match. And they had to stop the wrestling stuff after that, after someone really got hurt. So we stopped the backyard wrestling stuff in high school and kind of moved on to other stuff. Did show choir and band instead. He was very nerdy in high school, he said. He tells the story of kind of the origin of the GQ nickname and how it would be passed on to people, over the years and whatnot. And getting the GQ nickname would allow you to dress the nicest out of everyone in school. But he said that he doesn't really confront people, and that was it was part of the story. But he dressed up very, very well every single day, and that was when he kind of stopped wearing wrestling t-shirts. The nickname didn't get passed down. People didn't really want to wear all the nice shirts and whatnot, so he had to just, the nickname stopped with him, he said. He actually originally wanted to get into wrestling, which was interesting, but he got talked out of it by his dad, so he did, the Broadway stuff instead, which I would say has worked out quite well for him. He actually met his wife in show choir, which was great. She thought he was cool. He didn't really pick up on the signs that she was interested in him, which was great. They started off as best friends, and he said that he dated girls before his wife Dawn, and it was funny because I guess he would talk to Dawn, he would talk to Dawn, his current wife at the time, best friend, about all these other girls he was seeing, and all the guys that she was seeing. They would kind of talk to each other about that before they finally realized the person that I like. He was like, "Oh, I want to find a girl like Dawn," and his dad was like, "Why don't you just date Dawn?" You know what I mean? I thought that was funny. But at any rate, though, so they kind of talked about how, I guess one of the girls that he had dated before Dawn was older than him, but she was super into football, and he was super into wrestling, and she would always make fun of the wrestling. And he told this great story about how he was like, "Oh, you like guys in tights smacking each other on the butts and whatever? Oh, that's so much different than wrestling." And then she got really, really pissed at that, and the relationship obviously did not last long. He shares this story about his first kiss. It wasn't with Dawn, it was with someone else. He says that during his shows, if he sees a wrestler in the crowd and he's always looking for them, he'll always do shout-outs for them like during the show, which is cool. For Xavier Woods, like he said, "Oh, New Day rocks, New Day rocks," like as the genie during the Aladdin show, which if I was there, I would pop huge for that. That'd be fucking cool. But he's seen Xavier Woods at one of his shows, Mick Foley, Becky Lynch. He said he wanted to be a rapper at one point, which was interesting. He did a freestyle to close out the show as to what he would tell his younger self. But he also said he has other projects coming out, talks being in a Tangled show, the movie. I guess they made a show about it on Disney Plus, probably. I'm not sure. And also being a part of the DuckTales show. Now, I thought the DuckTales show ended. I guess not. But it has one of the greatest opening theme songs of any show ever. Just to put that out there. And to close out the show, he praises Alexa, says that he's really proud of her, and really, really, really praises her and gives her some kind words to close out the show. Again, I thought this episode was great. Definitely check it out either right now in podcast form on the WWE Network, on YouTube, which is where I watch this stuff, but it's also on the network. So check it out right now. I thought it was really, really good, and probably the best one I've seen yet of the Miz and Lance Bass episodes, which were also quite good. So like I said before, I still have yet to watch the Bella Twins one. That review will probably be up hopefully in the next couple of days. So keep an eye out for that. Be sure to check out all the other Uncool with Alexa Bliss reviews that I do here on the channel in the description box down below in the playlist entitled Uncool with Alexa Bliss Reviews. I know a lot of other podcasts are coming to the WWE Network. Isaiah Swerve Scott is moving his podcast to the network. Someone else that I forget is moving their podcast there. I know Sam Roberts is. I do not have the fucking time to watch anything more than what I already do on the network. I'll watch the Alexa Bliss stuff. I think it's entertaining, but as far as the other shows, definitely not. I'm all set. Corey Graves, I think, is doing the After the Bell podcast on the WWE Network. You know what? That's great and all. I'll probably continue to review the Alexa Bliss one just because I've already started. I want to finish it. As far as the other ones are concerned, I'm not reviewing those. I just don't have the fucking time. If they're an hour long, I don't have the time. But that's cool. They're adding more podcast network to the network, more podcast content to the network. I think that's really cool. So at any rate, guys, be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Be sure to hit that bell button as well to be notified every time a new video goes up. Have a great one, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.